right now. This makes sense for me. I like the big minutes for Sotto. He only played 5 minutes the previous game. That didn't make any sense at this point of the season. He's a really talented kid.
And Kai Sotto, very interesting because I know he's not on screen right now, Digbo's shooting the 3, and he's been in double figures a few of his last games, which has been good. Kai Sotto would not have even been getting a lot of these minutes if the players that were injured, we talk about
Isaac Humphries.
Cam Bairstow. So that's less minutes for Sotto. So it was good that he got the opportunity yesterday,
Hey,
extremely difficult.
Let me ask you about Adelaide then. John Casey reported last night's game, his sideline reporter saying, hey, you know what, they're going to go big in free agency, which will be interesting. No Jeff Van Groningen anymore. So CJ Bruton with club management will obviously have a bit more fingertips on what the roster looks next year. You talk to me what you make of this, Homicide.
I think DJ comes back. Sunday Detch comes back.
Mutual option. Keep me in as well.
Bring my man Hiram Harris back.
He's been great.
Will Isaac Humphries be healthy and ready to go? Go to Summer League, go grab some imports that you can rely on, and go from there.
What are you hearing, Liam?
Not much, just yet.
Big in free agency seems like you're going to go big because they went.
They're gonna go hard.
They went big last year and they got hard and they got their guy.
They didn't go big last year.
Well, they got Mitch McCarron. They went relatively big to be able to get a starting 5-piece out of Melbourne at a nice contract, which he well and truly deserved.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So firstly about Sunday Detch, I've got my eyes on that. I'm interested to see whether he enters free agency. Whether he looks at it and says, you know what, I think I could do with a change of scenery, and whether teams are going to have the opportunity to talk to him. That's an interesting little option to keep an eye on, I think, over the next couple of weeks. But I think it's all, like Corey said, it's all about the imports next season. If you're the Adelaide 36ers, don't overspend on the local talent this off-season. Big money for Mitch McCarron. Daniel Johnson's on a sizable deal every time they re-sign that guy. And then it's a little cheaper on the imports. That's not going to work for that team. You gotta hit on the import at an elite level. Jerome Randall, a Josh Childress, these kind of guys. Jacob Wiley. It's when they have those level of imports that they're a super competitive team. They got to make sure that they're willing to spend on those guys.
You get what you pay for in this world.
Agreed.
All right? Once in a while, you might find a diamond that you didn't pay for, but you didn't know it was going to be a diamond. That's luck of the draw. 9 out of 10 times, you get what you pay for. Go spend some money. Go get some enforcers who's going to show up consistently and get you some wins. This is not a cupcake league.
It is not.
In case y'all don't know that. I don't know if you heard it before, but let me say it again. It ain't a cupcake league. Go big.
I just jotted down Sunday,
or go home.
Sunday Detch's name because I always find it interesting when Liam Santa Maria drops this little piece of information. Quickly.
I will say that there's a conversation about Mitch McCarron.
Yeah.
What we've seen this year, is he a point guard, so on and so forth. If Dusty Hannett, if he's got a flat out bucket next to him in the backcourt and on the wing in that 3 spot, that can work. So I think you look at him as your point guard and you go and get a couple of high-scoring guys at the 2 and the 3.
Which would mean that Sunday Detch isn't at the basketball club, right?
Or coming off the bench.
Yeah, which I think he's a starter in this league, defensively as well, in particular.
The interesting thing is, all those things you just said, Liam, correct. But the hardest thing to do is stay focused when things are going well, right? You go into Melbourne, you roll Melbourne twice in a week. So after that, it's like, all right, cool. We can let our guards down. We beat the top team, and then get smacked. So to see them go into Brisbane and smack Brisbane, they were in full control of that game. Went in and did what they needed to do. Over the Sydney Kings. Jalen Adams had 3 fouls early in this game. No Ian Clark. So you would think with Jalen Adams, usually the guy that sets the tone and gets it done for everyone else, that, there may be a bit of an issue. They went in there and handled him. Everybody else stepped up. Sydney Kings are the real deal, and they have a chance to go 12 consecutive wins tonight.
Next start time. Let's get into it because it's exciting. And there seems to be a draft board every 2 days. And this is what happens as we get close to the NBA draft and into the off-season.
Man.
Take it away, man, because you are losing your mind. Usman Jing's been great the last month. Digbo, he went from a dude that couldn't even get into a game to having the amount of confidence that he does. And, of course, Sotto was outstanding last night. Homicide, you're the unofficial Next Star ambassador. Take it away.
It starts on the defensive end with this young man right there on screen. You know, to watch the growth from the first half of this season to the second half is apples and oranges. I mean, look at the confidence, step back. This is on one of the toughest players in the league, Mitch Creek, who gave him high praises. He's talented. He can shoot the ball. It's just a confidence thing, right? And it's great to see what he did in that game. And then over the city of churches, Kai Sotto last night, 21 points, had his best offensive output. And again, you talk about the growth. Peter Hooley and I were discussing, had he played, he should play this offseason in NBL 1, get more minutes under his belt, develop more, and come back more confident and ready for next season. I don't think that's a bad idea. And this gentleman right here, man, he just wants to play. He just wants to show that he can get to the next level. There were scouts in the building in all of these games, and it was great to see him put on while he's getting his opportunities now. And Kai Sotto, very interesting because I know he's not on screen right now, Digbo's shooting the three, and he's been in double figures a few of his last games, which has been good. Kai Sotto would not have even been getting a lot of these minutes if the players that were injured, you know, we talk about
Isaac Humphries.
Cam Bairstow. So that's less minutes for Sotto. So it was good that he got the opportunity yesterday, you know, and right now both teams are making finals. So guess what? Let the young fellas play and show what they can do. And they've been putting on. They've been performing well.
It seems to me from the outside looking in, they've been all really well coached. Now, that might just be a coincidence that when the season's done, they're getting more opportunities, but they haven't lost their confidence, these guys. This is maybe a generational thing as well. But when given the opportunities, considering they looked really, really a long way off it early at the start of the year when they got, you know, really limited minutes, this is the time you want to be playing your best basketball. When the scouts are in town and you got the confidence and you're doing what they're doing. So I'm not sure coincidence or well coached, but either way, it's worked for these three young men.
Yeah, and it's great to see. It's no guarantee that when they're given these opportunities that they're going to grab them.
Exactly.
And you credit the coaching for doing that, putting them in the right positions, but also these young men. It's been really, really fun to watch. I like the fact that these guys are being showcased right now. This makes sense for me. I like the big minutes for Sotto. He only played 5 minutes the previous game. That didn't make any sense at this point of the season. He's a really talented kid. Jing, blown up in the second half. They made the move. Jeremiah Martin's out. We're giving the ball to Usman Jing a little bit more, and they've put him in a position to succeed. And Digbo, that's a guy I'd like to see back next year. I'd like to see him back next year. I'd like to see Makua Maker back next year. Oh, yeah. Have a huge second year as a next star.
Listen, that young fella can go. That young fella can go. Super talented. I love watching him play. And then let's talk about, since we're in the Next Stars conversation, what's our guy at Melbourne United? Oh my goodness, that is a grown man. I just love the energy. His motor, I just love how he goes about it. Whether he fouls out or not, he's going hard. He's going hard. He's taking a page out of Joe Lualachu's book. He gets that pill, it's going up.